Hey guys! Today you will be learning how to draw realistic eyes, step by step. We're going to use graphite pencils, tortillons, and a kneaded eraser. First off, I drew a line in the middle as a guideline for two symmetrical eyes. Then I divided the middle part into 3 equal sections. These 3 parts are each 2 inches long. I did this because they'll be my guidelines for the lengths of my eyes. Now we're going to draw the curves for the top and bottom of the eye. At the edge of an eye, there's a part called the tear duct, so we have to draw that too. Its shape is kind of like a triangle. Then we're going to do the same thing for the other eye. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a nice circle. Make sure it's not too big, not too small. And make sure it's not completely inside the part of the eye where you can see it, because part of the iris is always outside, unless you're purposely opening your eyes wide, but that's not what we're trying to draw here. One of the reasons why we made a full circle extending past the eyelid is because this will help us center the pupil more evenly. So with the full circle, we can just draw in the middle. The pupil is usually a perfect circle, so we want to get as close to perfection as we can. Make sure it's not too big or too small. We can remove the top part now because we don't need it anymore. We're now going to start drawing the eyelid. I like thinking of the eyelid like a slightly curved line because it is almost straight at some parts. And then we're going to draw the eyebrows. It should be a little bit higher, but not too high. It's almost the size of the eye, but not quite. I'm just drawing the base outline of the eyebrows, not much detail. Just a nice, rough sketch. Then we're going to start drawing a bit of the nose. Now that we have our base established, we can start the details. I'm going to start the highlight in the eye, which is the shape of a circle. The highlight is going to go into a quarter of the pupil. For the inside of the pupil, I will use a 3B, medium pressure. While coloring, avoid the circle highlight because we want to keep that light. So now we're going to keep using a 3B to color around the outer part of the iris. Light or medium pressure. If you don't know what a stump is just a blending tool. It's also called a tortillon. So it's like that. I'll be using the number 6 because it's bigger, and because I'm using this because I keep this one as my dark stump. I'll just be pushing it in a little bit, like so. And you can see the outside is darker, the inside is lighter, which is what we want. Same with here. Now if you don't have a stump, you can make your own with towels or with tissue. Yeah, you can use a tissue, or you can use a Q-tip. But you can also use a tissue and you see, just bunch it up into like a little nib and just pull it out like that. But I prefer using a stump. Okay, so now that we've got that, oh, this is a little imperfect. Now that we've got that, we can go in from the inside and push out a bit, because that part comes out a bit too. Just nice little bit, not too much. I'm going to really lightly shade in the corner of the eye. I'll be using a 2B pencil. I'm blending that a bit to make it smoother. For the eye details, I'm going to trace around the edges with a dark pencil to define and make it pop. So now we've got there, we're going to start just adding little details, kind of like that. So we're just gonna poke in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And you can do small light scribbles as well. I'll be using my lighter pencil for this because it's supposed to be light, my H. We're just gonna be, like that. Just poking up a little, and also from the pupil as well. Like that. And here as well. Just, you see, like little scribbles, kind of. Like that. Then we're gonna use our Tortillon. I'm just gonna blend out a little bit of it, not too much, because we do want it to see the texture. I like this eye better. That eye's not as good. So now we're going to darken up the outside a little bit in little, little kind of circular almost, kind of like spikiness, like just up and down, like that. And we are going to do the top a little bit as well. Just a bit dark like that because the shadow of the eyelid. I'm just going to darken the outside and inside a bit because I find that really brings out the iris. Now I'm going to use a kneaded eraser in this. It's basically an eraser that's a mix of putty and Play-Doh. It's okay if you don't have one, you can just use a normal eraser. I like it because it lightens our shading without completely removing it. Now I'm going to darken the pupil with a 6B. I'm also darkening the outside ring of the iris. My strokes are going from the outside to almost the inside. Add shading under the eyelid as well. At this point, we're just going to keep layering over and over in the iris with the steps I showed you before. So, we can add more color and texture with our pencils and lighten or remove parts we don't want with a kneaded eraser or normal eraser. For the highlight, we're going to add a bit of light color in there. And we're going to draw in the reflection of lashes with a dark pencil. The lashes can be a bit curved and should cover half of the white spot. Lighten them a bit with a kneaded eraser. I'm working on the tear duct now. Remember the triangle part? Yeah, I'm making a bit of a gradient there too. Adding a little color for the white of the eye. Now we'll shade the eyelid for some realism there too. Now I'm going to be working on the part under the eye. It's the eye bag or the dark circle. Ours won't be too dark because this is a young woman's eyes. I'm also going to blend it a little. I'm adding light creases to the eye bags as well. We can make the sides of the eye bags a bit darker to give it some form. Don't forget to blend off the edge so the darkness won't appear too sudden. Add a little shading to these lower lids. I'm going to blend the eye's bottom part and top part now. I'm going to be adding nice thick eyelashes. I'm going to be adding the bottom ones first. So the bottom ones are just going to go like that. And then I'm going to be adding the top ones like that. Now eyelashes, they can't be uniform because if they're uniform, they're going to look weird. Not all eyelashes are the same. So they have to swoop up and almost reach the lid because that's actually how tall they are. Don't make the mistake of making them too short because that's going to look weird as well. And eyelashes, they often crisscross like this. So like that, and then they just go like that. I love how that looks. That's how they look. And they also swoop down a bit if they're curled. I'm doing curled ones right now. Like that. And they almost reach there, but not quite. Oop, it's a bit tall. Okay. And the edge, like that. Nice. And then I'll be going over in a 3B. Just adding a few more stray lashes. Don't make them all the same. It's a bit boring. And I'm gonna go over this bottom, just a bit like that. And this bottom part's gonna end off with a few small lashes. And then now I'm gonna go into the bottom part. And the bottom part's gonna start past this extra part because that's like the bottom of your eye, the skin down there. So just gonna crisscross a little bit, and then now the bottom won't have as many eyelashes as the top, but that's okay. It's still gonna look good. And then like that. And that's why we did the bottom first, like this part first. So that we don't have to, you know, blend on top of those eyelashes. So now we're gonna do the next eyelashes on this side. I'm gonna be using that. And just do nice big curved movements. Ooh, that's a little big. It's okay, I'm gonna erase a bit of that. Okay, so it's shortened up. And then just the small movements like that. And then I like to call these triangles. You see when they reach up like that? It gives it more like a dewy effect. Now we're gonna do more at the bottom. And these, oh, I forgot to do the bottom ones. It gives it more volume, you know? If you do some at the bottom that just stick out like that, more volume. So I'm gonna do that. And also make sure they're not all in the same direction. So make sure some are in different, you know? So we're just gonna make that ending part a bit long, and then here's the part where this starts. So crisscross. Oh, I'm gonna use this thicker 3B. This should be a bit more because I added a lot of eyelashes. And then we're going to do the bottom using my 2B now. Also, you can switch constantly. Switch to whatever value you think you need. And if you don't have it, then just press harder or lighter with the values that you do have. Just, you know, make up your own colors. We're close to the end of this drawing, so now we can clean up the parts that need fixing. For example, darken or lighten the parts that don't have the right value. Blend with the stump wherever you think the drawing isn't smooth enough. Adjust the drawing until you're happy with it, and when you are, your eye's done! Alright guys, the eyes are finished! Here are some close-ups of the eyes. I will be making another tutorial to finish the eyebrows and nose of this drawing, so check that out too. I'll link the video in the description once it's out. I really hope your drawings turned out great. If you had any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the tutorial, don't be afraid to leave a comment down below. If there's anything you'd like me to make another tutorial on, also tell me in the comments section. I'll be more than happy to help you. If you decide to post a photo of your finished drawing on Instagram, please tag me at I Love Drawing Studios. That's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!